You repeat yourself, you raise your voice, you wonder if your child is ignoring you on purpose. We've all been there. And by the end of the day, you're just exhausted and questioning whether you're doing something wrong. I'm Dr. Mona, pediatrician and mom, and today we're talking about why kids don't listen all the time, what's actually getting in the way, and what to say instead so your words land more of the time. The goal here is fewer repeats, less escalation, and better communication that feels better for everyone. And if that sounds like something you need, subscribe to the channel because I have way more videos coming. Let's get into it. Here is the reframe that changes everything. Listening is a brain skill that develops over time. When kids struggle to listen, it's usually because something is blocking that skill. Big feelings overload the brain. Impulse control is still developing. Too many words shut processing down. Stress puts the nervous system in charge. And when the nervous system is leading, the thinking brain goes offline. That's why repeating yourself louder almost never helps. Listening changes with development, and this matters. Toddlers listen inconsistently. That's normal. They need repetition, modeling, and physical guidance. They learn through action more than words. Preschoolers can listen when they're calm, but lose access quickly when they're tired, hungry, excited, or overstimulated. They benefit from structure and previewing expectations. School-age kids are very capable learners, but stress and overstimulation interfere. Not listening at this age still doesn't automatically mean defiance. Struggling to listen does not mean your child is bad, and it does not mean that you are failing. And this is where things usually go off track in the parent-child communication. Most of us respond to not listening by talking more, repeating ourselves, or getting louder. But if listening is a brain skill, those reactions often make it harder, not easier. So instead of asking, why won't my kid listen to me? The more helpful question is, what is getting in the way of them listening right now? Because there are a few very common patterns that quietly shut listening down. And once you see them, you can change how you communicate without turning into a robot or memorizing scripts. Let's walk through the biggest reasons kids don't listen and what actually helps instead. This one matters more than most people realize. When kids feel dismissed or talked over, their nervous system goes into defense, and a defensive brain does not want to listen. A lot of us do half listening. Very common. Your child comes up to you. You're on the phone, cooking, already thinking about what you need them to do next. What we tend to say, not now, you're fine, just a second. From your perspective, you're busy, and that's something very valid because you probably are. The goal isn't full attention all the time. It's intentional attention some of the time, and stating that you're in fact occupied, but attention is coming. From their perspective, if the norm is you not listening when they have something to say, and that's the rule and not the exception, they just learned that when they talk, they don't get full attention. So later when you need them to listen, why would they? Here's what helps instead. Brief, real acknowledgement. This does not take a lot of your time, and remember, in the long run, it can really help foster that feeling of mutual respect, which is the foundation of listening. Hey, I hear you. Give me 1 minute, then I'm listening. Hey, I see you're trying to tell me something. If this feels familiar, you're not alone, and this is exactly what we work on here, so please go ahead and subscribe for more. The next thing we do is we talk more when they're overstimulated or overwhelmed. And I want you to put yourself in your child's shoes. You've probably been overwhelmed or overstimulated. And if people are talking to you, whether it's having a conversation or barking orders, your brain is so on edge that it's not going to be able to hear it, let alone want to do that because of your overwhelm. When kids are dysregulated just like us, their thinking brain goes offline. So the more we explain, lecture, or justify, the less they can process. And here's what we tend to say. Okay, let me explain to you why this is important. This is so important. I've told you a million times. How many times do I have to tell you, why aren't you listening? You never listen. Your sister always listens. What helps instead? Fewer words, clear direction. Hey, shoes on. Time to go. Time to wash our hands before we eat dinner. Teach later when everyone is calm. Right now, it's for regulation and clear limits, not long-winded explanations. The next thing we do is so common, and it's so hard to remember to do this, but we talk from above, not with them, both physically and in tone. When we shout instructions from across the room or tower over kids, their body hears threat and not guidance. So we can tend to yell from across the room. We raise our voice instead of getting closer. And here's what helps instead. If you feel they're not hearing what you're saying, rather than yelling louder, walk to them in a non-threatening way. So you're not like going like this, you're just walking normally. Get down to their level, put a hand on their shoulder, and repeat the ask. Hey, it's time for dinner. Do you want to sit here or you want to sit here? Very calmly and matter of fact. Use a calm, steady voice. Try to get down to their level because connection makes words land. Listening starts with proximity and not volume. And this became more important to me as I started to have 2 children. And my son is getting taller, getting older, but he's still smaller than me. But when I look at my daughter, she seems so tiny in comparison. And one day I was leaning down just to pick something up and I was at her level and I looked up at my husband and other people in the house and I was like, oh my goodness. From her perspective, how scary is it when a grown human is so much taller than you and yelling or barking orders at you? And I just found that getting down to her level just to even ask or tell a simple command was so much stronger than saying it from above. And I know physically sometimes you might not be able to do this. The point is not that this is going to happen every time. The point is that if you're not able to physically get down to their level, can you get into a tone that shows more appreciation and more connection? The next is we tell them what not to do, but not what we want them to do. No running, no yelling, no hitting. Stop, 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 stop. Kids here stop all day, but they don't know what to do next. Young brains need direction, not just restriction. And what we tend to say is don't run, stop yelling, and don't touch that. And what helps instead? Pair the stop with a go. Hey, feet walk inside. We're going to use a soft voice. Hands in pockets. Direction gives the brain a job, and that can mean that they listen to you more because they know what they need to do with their bodies. Next, our expectation is not matching development. We often expect skills kids don't yet have consistently, like impulse control or emotional regulation. Well, we tend to think, you know better, you should know better. What helps instead is ask yourself, is this a skill my child can do consistently, or do they still need support? If they still need support, that's not defiance, that's development. Support the skill before expecting compliance. The next thing is we repeat ourselves without follow through, especially with limits. When limits are all words and no action, kids learn that they can wait us out. Not because they're manipulative, but because they're learning the pattern, that your limits don't mean business. What we tend to say, I'm serious this time. Okay, one more warning. Okay, I'm counting to 3, but are you following through? What helps instead, say it once, then calmly follow through. Hey, it's time to turn off the TV. You can turn it off or I can. And you actually turn it off if they didn't agree to the limit because you're showing that you're following through with an important limit for you and the family. This is important because predictability builds trust and trust builds listening. If they know that they can trust your word, they will want to listen to your word more. But if you're wishy-washy and sometimes you follow a limit, sometimes you don't know what you're doing there, they're going to tune you out more because they know that you're not the sturdy leader in the house. The important one, which I said at the beginning, tone matters more than the perfect script. Parents often ask me for scripts and I don't mind giving them, but you can't regurgitate scripts if you don't believe in it. You have to have the tone match the content. What we tend to do when our kids are not listening, we get louder, we add sarcasm, we sound rushed or frustrated, and kids really notice that. What helps instead? Calm, firm, steady. You don't need to sound cheerful. You don't need to sound grounded. Calm and firm beats loud and long every time. Example, hey, put on your shoes right now, we're late. Hey, it's time to put on our shoes so we can get to school. You never listen. Why are you so frustrating? Instead, I feel like we're having a hard time listening today. And that's okay, but we need to get going right now. So I'm going to put on your shoes and we're going to head out the door. You notice that in both examples, I said essentially the same thing, but my tone and delivery was different. One is going to invite more of this, and one is going to invite more, okay, my mom or my daddy or my caregiver is telling me what to do, and I have to do it. And remember, this takes a lot of practice. You just saying it once is not going to mean that they're going to always copy and follow what you say. But it's a practice skill that builds over time to create a healthy connection and communication with your child. Now remember, pushback is normal. It does not mean this approach failed. This is the part that trips so many parents up because it's easy to think if my child is still upset, I must be doing it wrong. Or that none of this is working because my child's not listening to me right away. It really takes consistency and practice and for your child to notice the pattern of how you communicate with them. Pushback usually just means your child is having a hard time with the limit, not that the limit shouldn't be there. Or they're dysregulated, or we need to communicate differently. When kids resist, return to a simple loop. Acknowledge the feeling so they feel seen. Restate the limit and the direction so the boundary stays clear. Then act if needed. This can sound like, I hear you. You don't want to leave, but it's still time to go. Or, you're really mad. I won't let you hit, so I'm moving your body away. You're not trying to eliminate feelings here. You're showing your child that feelings can exist alongside limits and that you can stay calm and steady when they're upset. And if this sounds familiar and has already been helpful, hit subscribe. You're not alone in this, and I'm happy to guide you on other parenting situations. Certain phrases tend to backfire even when they come from frustration. Things like, how many times do I have to tell you? Why aren't you listening? Often trigger shame or defensiveness. Instead of improving listening, they push kids further into stress mode. Threats or vague warnings, like if you don't listen, then, can also increase anxiety without actually teaching the skill you want. The goal here is to notice which phrases are making things harder, what communication tactics are making things harder for you, and choosing language that keeps the door open to listening. And remember, everyone misses the mark. Every parent does. I have as well. What matters most is not getting it right every time, but what you do after things go sideways. Repair matters more than perfection. That can look like going back later and saying, I didn't handle that well earlier, or I got really frustrated, or let's try that again, or even, hey, I yelled and you didn't deserve that. Those moments don't make you a weaker parent. They actually build trust and safety, which is the foundation of wanting to listen. They show your child that relationships can recover, that mistakes aren't the end of connection, and that listening goes both ways and communication goes both ways. And over time, that sense of safety makes it easier for kids to hear you because they're not bracing for disconnection when things get hard. They know that they can trust you. They know that you trust them. They know that there's mutual respect. And that is the foundation for healthy communication. Bottom line, listening is a skill that develops with support. Kids listen more when they feel safe and understood. Clear, calm communication works better than louder communication. And when kids feel heard, they listen more. And when they listen more, parenting feels lighter. So if you learned something today, please share and also get on my newsletter for more parenting advice directly to your inbox. And if this video gave you language you can actually use, hit subscribe. And if you have any questions, make sure to comment below because my team of medical and parenting experts are always here to provide education. I'll see you all next time. Make sure you're connecting with yourself, your partner, and your family, and your kids, and stay well.